So I managed to solve that problem I had with my own computer. It was like, well, I had to just wait for the it had installed Android Studio, but it's still downloading some components from the internet.
Yeah, it should download some extra SDKs to work properly, so it takes time sometimes.
Yeah, I also installed one SDK.
So is it working good now?
Yes.
Okay. Right, people still coming, but I think we can start. So on the previous lab, we have played with UI and we tried how to click buttons. For today, we will keep working on the application in the same repository and the same project. So today we will build a list view and start working with databases. So first, what is list view? You can see here on the pictures some screenshot from Twitter application, from some similar applications. So it's presenting the list of several items of same format. So on the left, you can see there is a elements that has a picture, has title, which is in bold text, and on the bottom, some text in regular. On the right, you can see picture and some text below and a couple buttons below. So it can be any kind of content, but the idea is that every single elements follow the same pattern. So we will build it today. There are two types of widgets that are used for listing, list view and recycler view. List view is more simple and it's more old-fashioned, and nowadays recycle view is used almost in every application because it was created later than list view and it's created for handling memory properly. The idea behind that when you scroll the elements, they are not stored in the memory. The memory is free, but later on you just return to the same elements if you want to see them. In list view, when you scroll the list, the items on the top, and they are not on the screen, they are still in the memory, and at the end point, it can happen in that the application just crash or some memory overloads. But for today, we will build this list of reminders, as you can see on the picture on the right side. And just for the sake of simplicity, we will keep using list view just because it's a bit simpler to implement. But the standard recycle view is the one that is used mostly. And if you're interested, you can follow the link below. It compares pros and cons of both widgets, so you can find some more about it. Okay. Yep.
It's hard to read from the wall. Would you maybe
down?
Sorry.
So open same project that we worked on the last lab, and we will keep working with it. Just change the screen. So from the previous project, we do have three activities and 3 XML files. So first we will start with main activity, and you can go directly to activity main.xml, where we have created 3 buttons on the last lab and text view. So what we need now, we need to create a list view. So you can just simply find it from here. You can drag it and drop. So as you can see, the list view is not taking the whole screen by default when I drag and drop it. So I go directly to text, and I need to set up that width should match parent and say for height. We do not need this. We need to set up ID, so we will be able to use this into our main activity. Let's just name list. Okay, it works. And we do not need this text view anymore, so we can just simply delete it.
Can you show the?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So just list view, width and height to match parent, and ID just simply list. You can name whatever you want.
You don't need those. There's layout tools, layout editor, absolute X and absolute Y.
Well, it's all about user interface, so it's completely up to you. If you want, you can keep it. I do it just for simplicity, so there is no extra parameters. But you can click on list from design view, and you can play with different attributes from here. I think many of them very straightforward and understandable. What does it mean? If you want to do something, just either ask me or check for official documentation. It's quite straightforward, I guess. So we do have here list view, and later on it will be used for the whole screen. And now we have to do it something with this element into our main activity.xml. But first of all, I will show you how to deal with list views. So mostly list view requires 2 elements. One is element that represents the row. So as you can see here, there are predefined like patterns what to use, and instead of patterns, later on we load some data. So first we need to create the pattern how the list view element will look. So just create another click on layout and create new layout resource file. And we can name it as list view item. Root element linear layout is fine, and the rest should be fine. So we have here linear layout vertical, but instead of vertical, we will use linear layout horizontal. Just because. Yep, sure. A bit slower, right? Okay, yeah. So as you see here, we created this element will be later on inflated into list view as yeah.
So what kind of resource was it?
You right click on layout,
yes.
New layout resource file,
Yes. Thank you.
and just name it as list view item, and as a root use linear layout. When you create it, you will see that your linear layout has vertical orientation. Instead, we will use horizontal because the views here are more stretched into horizontal than in vertical. And inside here, we need to create 2 text views. So just go to text and change orientation to horizontal. Or you can find it here in attributes in design interface and change this horizontal vertical. It's quite straightforward here.
So, how was that layout resource file? What were the settings?
Yeah, I can show. So we name it as list view item. Is everyone able to follow, or there is some questions for now? So when you have this, just click OK. All right, let's put two text views here. The first should be here, and second here.
And if they like are like a stack on top of,
I can take a look.
I mean they are in vertical, not horizontal.
Yeah, just go to linear layout. Click here, linear layout, and change this to vertical.
Okay. And now again, they looks like they are on top of each other. Or
That's right.
how
Test. Let's move to so it's good. All of them are saying that you should match it. So looks like both of them are quite the same, like find. So you can change the width and height of the key. So that you can specify maybe that the first one should be some density, the second one should be, because at this point,
I think if you track to at least here where it works, so it should find. So what does this two text here means? I go back to the sample here, and you can see that on the right we will have the text of reminder, and on the left we would have the trigger. So we will do both time-based reminders and location-based reminders, so we can show some information when we want to show this. So for example, here I'm showing the time, and later on when we will start showing the location, we can show the name of location or coordinates. So this view inflates every time when we show the list. So when we go here and we will show the list of elements, in fact, we will inflate this list view item.xml, and we will just replace the text which is here. For now, for maybe to make it just more understandable, we can make it like just rename it reminder text. It's not compulsory because this text is replaced anyway when the list view is inflated, but just for understandability. And here we can make like trigger time, let's say. Right. So we have created a list, we have created a view item, and now we need to create a separate class that will take some data set that will exist on our application, and we'll unpack it and push this data from the data set to list on the list view. So we need to create another class. You do right click on the folder of your application and you create new Kotlin file class. And let's name it reminder adapter. And instead of file, you can select class here. And when you're done, just click OK. Well, you can go file, new Kotlin file class, or you can right click on the folder of the package that you have, where you have all the activities. Both works. So you right click new Kotlin file class, and then you name it time activity. Oh, sorry, you name it reminder adapter, and you select kind as class. So when we are here, we need to create an element which is named base adapter. This actually this adapter that gets the data set and inflates it to our list. And when you type it, you can see that your class reminder adapter is underlined in red, and the Android Studio shows the error that we haven't implemented and the required class members. So you put you do left click on the underlined, click Alt Enter, and you select implement members. So you left click on reminder adapter, Alt Enter, it shows you this. You select implement members, and you select what you need. So by holding Shift, you can select all of them, or you can. Sure.
Can you explain from left click?
Yep, sure. Once again, probably it will be easier not by left click, but you go here, you create file, new. Not like that. File, new Kotlin file class. So we need to create this adapter class. So you write the name of the class here. You select the class is actually class, and you click OK. When you do this, you will have just empty class here, which would be a class and name of the class you have just created. And now we need to initialize that this class will be the extension of base adapter class. So it will be based on top of base adapter, which is predefined by Android. So when you have done this, I mean, you put colon base adapter, you will have this underlined in red. So you put cursor on reminder adapter, click Alt Enter, and select implement members. When you have selected this, you will see that there are 4 members that have to be declared when you create base adapter. So by holding Shift, you select all of them and click OK. And we see that the code is generated here, and we would need to initialize the code and write some comments here that later on will tell what should happen when we inflate the view, when we click it, when it destroyed, whatever. And this reminder adapter class will be used later on in the main activity when we will need to initialize the list. Don't worry if that's not understandable yet. Later when we will have the working lists, it will get probably more easier for you to see what this thing did. Is everyone following, or you need some questions?
I kinda had problem with those layouts, and I had to check about that, so I kinda lost where we were. I mean, what we were doing after the layout file had been added.
Yep. So you do have a layout already, right?
Yes, at least UI.
Yeah. So now we need to create another class in folder which is named in the folder where you have all the activities before. So you put a cursor on that folder, click File, New.
That folder where are the activity classes.
Yeah. So you click on it. You either do right click on it, or you just put cursor on it, click File, New, Kotlin file class. Then you write the name of this class. So we named it as reminder adapter. You can select other names, but just for simplicity, and later on you will be able to understand it from the name of the file. So you name it reminder adapter, and as kind you select class and just click OK. So I can, for example, do it once again, just name it as second adapter. If you have already reminder adapter, you don't need to do that, but I'm just showing how to do it once again. So when you have this reminder adapter on your studio, it will look like that. And we need to say that it's extension of base adapter.
It's under the widget.
Can you help me? Does anyone else have questions, comments?
I think that's that.
No, you put cursor here, reminder adapter, click Alt Enter, implement members. By holding Shift, you select all of them. Okay. And it's here. So for now, we need to say, and we need to write the code, what we do when we inflate the views. So first of all, let's initialize inflator elements. So we create a new value named inflator, which is layout inflator. And we get it from context. My mistake. So I missed here that in reminder adapter, we need to say that there is a need in two parameters here. So first parameter is context, which is context. And second, we can make it private value list. And I need some data set. Let's make it for now list of strings. So what does it mean? We will later create this adapter in main activity, and we need to put some data set here. So as for context, we would have main activity. It's actually the place when this reminder adapter is created. And as a list string, we will use our data set that we will create first later manually, and then we will get it. Like when you create a reminder, it will go to your database, and we will retrieve these reminders from database. So for now, this is enough. And when we have context here, now we do context get system service. Context layout inflator service as layout inflator. You can remove this code that was created by Android Studio first. Let's create view here. Let's name it row. And do inflator, inflate. Then we get the name of the list view item that we have created before. And then specify a couple more parameters here. And this has to return view and the view that we created named row. So the code looks like that. So in fact, when every row element of the list view is created, this get view is called. And inside get view, we need to specify that for using that, we need to use lists view item. What these parameters mean? So first is position. It's an integer value. So when you have a list of elements, let's say 10 elements, and you click on one of them and you want to do something with that, there is a order. It's like starting from 1 to 10, they have the numerical value. This we will don't need to use, and this just rename to parent. It's the view group that they contains all the elements. In our case, it's a list that we have created. And now let's put some text on the fields that we have created in our list view item. So for that, we need to rename them. So you see that it's already have some names. So let's rename it as item. What was the name? So we would have here the reminder text and reminder, let's say trigger time or trigger place. So let's rename it to item text or item message, probably it's more clear. And this to item trigger. So this means it's the message of the reminder, and this means the trigger, it's either place where we show the notification or time when we showed it. So once you rename that, go back to reminder adapter, and let's specify here that we want to put some text onto that text view that we do have here. So for that, you just type row dot, and we need to specify this dash name that we used on XML. So in our case, it's item message. And we want to put some text here. So as text here, we can write, for example, any text. So if we do like that, then for example, when we would have 10 elements, all of them that would have this 1, 2, 3 instead of text. Let's keep it as it is for now. And let's just finalize the adapter by completing the code from here. So in get item, you can write lists and just rename it position as well here. So what it does, sorry, return. So what it does, when it refers to some specific elements, we need to return it actually the value that we need. In our case, it will be a list of reminders. We will start as list of strings. So when you click on element number 6, it returns us the elements on the position of 6. So as here, we can just write some dummy code. So write return 0 and return 0 2 here. Or actually, we can make right away. So here we will use list size. So get count, it's obviously need to count how many elements we have. So we just get the data set that we have used and see the size of it. And here we can either 0. We will not use this, I guess. So, but let's just complete the code. Again, position. So long. So that's how your reminder adapter looks. You can ask questions. You can follow the code on the screen.
So how's that? Those IDs in the history, right?
Those what? IDs? You mean here?
IDs, yes.
Yeah. So
Item message and item trigger, and item message was my.
yeah, so you have two text views here, and when you inside the adapter, when every time when the row element is created, this get view is called, and every time when an element is created, we will put some text onto these text views. So first represents the message of reminder, second represents the trigger of reminder. So we can put, for example, here any text, and we can add item trigger here text. For example, just hello. Later on, we will put some data set here, and we will retrieve the data from data set, and we put on this text views the data from data set. But for now, let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it as like that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's wait 5 minutes so everyone will be able to write it. If you're back, you can just see the code here, or just raise your hands and we will help.
Did you manually change the parameters of the getView function?
Of which one?
getView, for example, the
Yeah. It's by default it's simplified something like P1, P0. Just to make it more understandable, it's position and parent. We would need first and third. If you don't wanna rename it, I think by default it's P0 probably. Okay. So if you keep it as like that, then where was it? Position. Yeah. You don't need it yet, but later on, for example, here you have it as well, P0. Yeah. So if you have P0 here, you can use P0. So why I renamed it, just to make it more understandable, what does this parameter mean? Yeah. it can be left here. It's fine, but
It's not just,
it just comments that.
no, so it's not just, no, it's not like it's some kind of exception.
Yeah, it will not be compilated, so you can leave your. I just remove it. Just remove it, but it's fine.
To make things faster, he's trying to copy he's trying to sort my GitHub folder, and since there's some kind of problem.
So,
Sorry. For this also, I think I put another name.
So if you look, let's look at that, we have so your IDs have to be. This is IDs.
Well,
Yeah.
you just leave them up.
Text.
No, it's not that.
So you can name it to
Can So the proc is project and when he's trying to control it, there's some mistake. Not yet, but other. So actually the C case. For example, yeah, needs to use next tax. So first this was it's the one. What if we create a new project? Can you try to create a new project just to see if it was so you know if the project program moment was or the project, yeah. So just put it in this thing. Go previous. You don't need to see plus plus. Go previous once again. Previous once again. Once again. Includes plus plus. Yes, check. So.
Yeah, I could get a bit. I could try something. Yeah. Okay. There's something that it's not. Doesn't understand. Yes, that's sort of course it delay.
So the problem can be that the installation will be or something like that. Just yeah. What my also is but if that works,
Just we don't know
well, actually, it should be compatible. If you want, you can come to so we can see the audio when we have time, or just follow the videos from the video. Like all the lives are so.
Yeah, I know.
But I think it's broken. But let's see if I keep recording just oh. I see this. Inflator is not created. Look on the when we have a reminder adapter, then we create inflator. So you're missing look on the screen. You're missing the no, it's like row number 12. Yeah, you haven't created it.
Yeah, I haven't created it.
So no, don't delete it. It's fine. That's fine. But after that, in between here, you create.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm completely missing one line.
So is everyone able to follow, or there are some questions? Yeah. So we have created the list in our main activity XML. We have created an adapter, and we have created a list view item. So let's now see how it looks. So, moment. So first we need some data set. So let's create some dummy data sets that we'll use just to show elements for now. And later on we'll change it, but for now let's just create a simple array of strings and put some elements here. I don't know, let's create the names of cities, let's say. For example, like that. So we have a data set here, then we create a adapter elements, which is reminder adapter that we have created already today. And as you can see from here, we need two parameters here. First is context and second is data set. So as context, we put application context here, and as data set, we just created a data dummy element here. What's wrong? Required list string found array string. Yeah, so we have created an array of strings, and here we had list of strings. So instead of this, just change list of strings to array of strings, and it works. And the last one, we have created a lists element which we named list, and we need to specify adapter here and put it adapter here. So this adapters goes to is set as adapter for list view. So probably not to confuse you, let's rename it to reminder adapter. So the code should look like that. And let's run. So you can see on the screen that there are 3 elements in our array, and there are 3 elements on the screen. But the problem is that we have the names of the city as data set, but inside of reminder we haven't specified what to use. So instead of 1 to 3, we need to rename the message to actually the message from the data set. So for this, we write list position. Run it again. And you see that all the elements that are inside our data set is now on the screen listed. The problem is for now that we have array which contains only 1 dimension of data. So on the right, we can have the names of the cities, but we don't have any data what to put on the right side for trigger.
Where do you get that list?
Yeah, moment. On the right side, we don't have any data yet. We will have it later. And so we will put some data here. What your question is?
Where does that list come?
Uh,
Where's the list of adapter?
List is the name of list view. It's the name in XML. Because I created first so I will keep here for you. Because I just Sure. You mean that one or this one? It's the name of the
The name is
That's the place where we're really
You need to have extenders here.
So you set the
well, it was before like
so this is the item. Where is it? So this is the item.
But even if we try to
have this.
nothing is wrong.
I mean, you need to have this close in a
I mean, from what I remember from the school,
this constructor, and then it just occurs. And it's cognitive. So and the problem is not here because, for example, if I put any resonance here, it should be here. So in fact, it will replace this stuff from some point. So for example, if I put some resonance here, it's even let's say I would think that the problem is because it's
which one are you? There is the items that
So are you supposed to like somehow do something normal?
okay.
Because those names, that's
So you they are not showing up.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
which is right. Go to random adapter. So instead of 1, 2, 3, we need to. So we have a list of that data. Inside square brackets. So now when we push the data here, we have this list, and for every single position, data will come not 1, 2, 3, 4, but replaced by
Any questions?
So we have a dummy data set here, but later on we would need to use a database, and we have around 20-25 minutes more, so I think we have time to start working with database. Regarding the homework, don't worry what is written in Moodle. All we will be able to do here on the lab, like in following 20 minutes, that will be a homework. So in fact, that if you follow all that has been done today, that it's fine. I mean, because on Moodle there can be a bit more requests than we have completed today, but it's fine. Don't worry, just upload your progress and that's it. So let's start implementing the database, and we will continue tomorrow. So, oh, sorry, tomorrow, next week. Yeah. So a bit about databases. You can check the documentation, but probably it's not much understandable. In short, a long time before, when the Android was created, the SQLite database is the default database that has been used on applications, and later on top of that, there has been created several solutions. For now, we will use Room. The idea is that the Room is quite straightforward. I will implement just a couple of classes today in these 20 minutes, and that's it. It will be about like 2 classes of 20 lines. That's it. If for legacy SQLites, if you need to do something like not super basic but a bit complex, it can be a couple classes of a couple hundred lines. So for now, Room is quite handy solution. And for example, if you follow that link, it tells you again, like step by step, how to add dependencies, what we have done on the previous session, and all that stuff. But we will do it today, so you don't need to go there, just in case you're interested. So the idea is that we would have 2 different types of reminders. And every reminder should have a message. So the table that we will create in our database is quite simple. You don't need to type any yet. I just want to show the example how the table looks. So you will see that that's a simple ID of the reminder. It increments automatically. And you need to specify either time when the reminder is shown or location where the reminder is shown. For example, time is like the timestamp, it's amount of seconds. It's Unix timestamp. If you don't know, it's amount of seconds from 1970, I guess, in seconds. And for location, it's just latitude and longitude of place. Message is simple. It's just string. So what we'll do today, we will create this, and in the next session, we will set up time reminders. Later on, Kennedy will take action, and you will implement location reminders. But for now, we need to create a database that we will use later. So for that, go to your application, create new class, and give me a moment. So we need to create a table. So let's name the class as table reminder. And as kind of file, just leave it file, don't select class, we don't need class. So table reminder file, okay. We have it here. And now let's create a table. So in Room, the tables are named entity. And inside brackets, you specify that table name is named as reminders. And we create a data class here, reminder. And inside, we need to specify the columns. The columns is these columns, is UID, time, location, message. So let's do this. Actually, I do have this code here. You can copy paste. You can type by following me. It's fine. So let's just type it. So the first is primary key. it should be auto-generated. So it increments every time when we add some entry to the database. The name of this UID, the type is integer. This question mark means that the null values are accepted when we create the table. So later on we will create the, not table, but element. Later on we will start create reminders. We would not need to specify the keys by ourselves. It will be auto-generated, as you can see from here. So we will pass null as parameter. So because of that, we have this question mark here. Then we create another column info, name, and let's name it time. So this will represent this time. So again, variable time, and the type is long. Next, location, column info, location, variable, location. And for location, we would use strings. And the last one is message. I missed comma here. So once again, column info, name, message, variable message, and the type is string. I do not put question mark here because I want to make sure that every single entry. So the idea is we would have these entries. User ID will always have something, but it will be auto-generated. Message will be in every single entry. Every single reminder will have some message. So we do not put question mark here. We don't want to be it's null. If you put like that, it means that when we create new reminder, we have to pass here something or null. But we don't want to have that, so we have it like that. All right. Once you created entity, so entity actually represents the table structure, we need to create some SQL requests. In room, it's named DAO. So we create interface, reminder DAO. Inside curly brackets, we create some requests. So first, we need the one that will actually insert data to the table. It's transaction. Insert. And for that, we create function insert reminder. So what does it do? Every time when we call insert, we do actually insert to the database. So this annotation refers to predefined functions in room. And we insert the reminder elements, and the type is reminder. Reminder refers to this data class that we created on the top. So when we call insert, we have to specify the element that named reminder. Next, we create a query that selects all the reminders from the database. So if you have some previous knowledge about SQL, so it will be understandable for you. If not, I'll just explain it briefly. So we do select, this means that we select every value from table named reminders, and table named reminders was specified on top. For that, we create a function. Let's name it get reminders. That returns list of reminders. That's it. So what we have created, once again, we specified this entity, which represents the table that is shown on the slides. For having this kind of table, we need to create this entity, and this DAO represents the calls to the database. One for inserting data, another for getting data. Later on, we will add some queries to delete data, for example, or if we would need some more, we can create custom here. The idea is behind here just to specify what kind of data returns and how you return it. So I can give a couple minutes more if you have questions.
Why does this like show errors on those columns?
Let's see.
So like it just error.
Because you have to use round words instead of I think that this has some kind of it's super simple. It's super powerful. So yeah. Yeah, I see. So your console is that
No, that's
I
think she had the same problem. And she had it for the previous I don't know. Ironic. And I think there's something to do.
well, I guess it's so can you try to speak because that's why
Yeah.
But
So is everyone able to have this into the project? Questions? Not yet. So we need to set up, as we have set up the table for reminders, but we haven't set up database yet. So for that, let's create another class and name it application database. So it's app database. And again, file, we don't need class. And here we specify the database for room. And we need to specify entities, which is reminder. Plus. It's the one that we have created just before. You need to specify the version of the database. It's obviously you start from 1. This version means when you next time go to table reminder and, for example, you want to change something, or you want, for example, don't do it now. For example, instead of message, you want to have some text field or something like this. So the thing is that you're changing the schema. You need to update into database. So when you updated the schema, you increment it by 1, so 2, 3, 4, whatever. So the application will know that you have changed the database, and there will be no any issues regarding that. But for now, we start with entities as reminder class and version just 1. So it's abstract class here. Application database stands room database. Here we create function named reminder DAO. That refers to reminder DAO that we have created. And there is something wrong. I'm missing round brackets here. So once again, we have created table here. We have created DAO here, which refers to queries. And now we create the database, database can consist of several tables. So we create database, we create a reminder table inside of it, that's it. And we specify the DAO, which refers to what queries you use and where to get this data from. So follow that. And if you have any questions, raise hand. Yep, sure. So what that one is, Kennedy? It's Motorola.
Yes, this is Motorola. So we are always working here.
So, and same for.
Same for, so we probably have to dig into it.
Yeah, probably something wrong with code. Maybe I need to make some version checks.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have problem when you inflate the rows and there is no text on it? No? All right. So once again, what have we done today? We have created list view. We have created a dummy data set that pushes data to this list view. We have created list adapter that actually inflates the data from the data set. And we have created 2 classes for setting up database. We don't have time to keep working with databases today. It's fine, don't worry. We will keep working on the next session. So let's just double check what's on Moodle as homework.
Can you show the table reminder file?
Yeah, let me finish the homework and then I open. So actually, it's fine. The task was create list view, create adapter, set up database. That's all we did today. So that's where is it? Yeah. So the homework 3 is again 1 week from today, 6 days, 14 hours, but still. Just push all the code that you have created today. Same way as we did previously. You push all the codes to GitHub that we created today, list view, adapter, setting up database. Just push it to GitHub and leave something here. So you click again, add submission, add some random text like your name, your ID, whatever. Click save changes. So we will be able to see that you're making some progress. Someone already submitted, good. Yep, that's it for today. If you have questions, we have like 15 minutes more here to answer. If not, if you're done, just push the stuff to GitHub and we're done. Yes. Yeah, sure. probably I can, moments. I just want to split it, maybe. So that's. Yeah, regarding your problem, I will take a look at the codes. I will check what for the code is this one because I don't know the problem. Like you see, like the code is working there, it's fine. I will take that phone and see what the problem is with the code. If not, that's it. And if something's still unclear after the session, all the recordings from the session are uploaded to YouTube. You can see the playlist. Yeah, sure. If someone haven't seen yet, into the Moodle, all the lectures and everything is uploaded here. Just click that button and you will see playlist. So you see lab 1, lab 2, lab 3 will be here like today. And all the lectures are here. If something is in the same page. Yeah, well, you do click this, and it opens. No.
Would it be possible to look at the activity main.xml on the big screen? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I just
We don't need to. We need to have a constructor for the data class.
which one?
For the minor.
You're using, I guess, curly brackets, aren't you?
Ah.
Yeah, this is
그러면 그겁니다. 그 액티비티는 강의하고 이거 코드 빨리 신청 가라 이러면 촥 해가지고 그냥 실패했습니다. 스스로 나와야 돼. 대충 알려주고 내가 사람을 두고 생각하고 코드는 코드가 제일 빨리.
Then not need to type it in. Can put the cursor here. Probably, I don't know how much option enter I guess because this is the function. So let's